Hello, everyone! We have Azu over here. In full form
Bon
now.
Jovi.
Bon Jovi. Well, at least she's having fun. Anyway,
Yippee.
I don't know much about all this kind of stuff, but I do know about Vector Prime, at least a little bit, that he showed up in Transformers Cybertron, where they're trying to save their planet from getting devoured by a black hole. Which is, yeah.
The only thing I know about Transformers are the Michael Bay versions.
I don't. Anyway, I really should make my own video at some point. Someone just asked a silly question of me over in my comments that I looked over, and it said, if you made a game, would you put Wolfman in it? And I said, maybe. Because honestly, I don't know. I might. I mean, I'd be willing to try it. Anyway, yeah, I know a bit about Vector Prime. I liked his design. He apparently, if I remember correctly, he turns into a spaceship, basically. And now we're going to head into this. So, Azu knows absolutely nothing about Transformers. Other than the robots in disguise, which is... That's something everyone knows.
He's a semi-aquatic egg-laying mammal of action. Starscream.
I honestly, Azu, I don't think you'd like to meet Starscream. At least most of the versions.
Like a bundle of joy.
There's a reason we have a character called the Starscream in TV tropes. It's not for the reasons you want.
For this week's episode, we are
I
looking
love
at the
his
story
design.
behind
Cool
another of the
Yeah.
legendary 13 Primes. The Guardian of Time, Vector Prime.
Ooh.
Vector Prime was introduced in 2005's Transformers Cybertron. His toy transformed from
I
an
just had a
ancient
thought.
robot with a
If
body
a
made of
Transformer could turn
clockwork.
into the Millennial Falcon.
Oh, there is one.
Millennium Falcon. Really?
Yeah, they had a crossover with Star Wars, and the Transformer that turns into Millennium Falcon actually splits into two pieces and turns into Han Solo and Chewie.
That is so funny.
I had that toy. I don't remember where I put it, but I know it's in pieces somewhere.
I was joking, but I'm so glad that actually exists.
Oh, they have a lot of crossovers with stuff. There's a lot of Star Wars toys that are just Star Wars vehicle that somehow transforms into Star Wars character.
Can't wait for the Scooby-Doo collab.
Maybe one day.
Gears to a space cruiser and came
I do like
packaged with
his
Minicon
transform
partner,
design.
Safeguard, who turned into a spaceship that doubled as a blaster for Vector. Vector Prime was one of the first 13 Transformers, divinely powerful robots created at the dawn of time by the god of light, Primus, to help him battle the dark god, Unicron.
Yeah.
The wise and noble Vector had the power to manipulate space and time, controlling its flow, time traveling at will, and even moving between
little
dimensions.
I don't remember him
portals
doing that in the
reality
show.
With his sword, Rizzling. After Unicron was defeated, Primus entered hibernation in the form of the planet Cybertron, and Vector Prime left this dimension, withdrawing outside of time to watch over the time stream and defend it against threats.
It was very
His siblings
3D.
were forgotten by modern-day Transformers, though one trace of him did remain. His face became the inspiration for the Autobot
kinda see it.
insignia. As the Cybertron cartoon began, Vector Prime at last returned to his homeworld, drawn there by the formation of a colossal black hole near the planet, caused by the Autobots' destruction of Unicron in the previous series, 2004's Transformers Energon. Knowing that this deadly Unicron singularity was destined to consume all of time and space, Vector guided the Autobots in gathering the Cyber Planet Keys, fragments of Primus's power scattered across the galaxy,
Yeah,
which they could
I remember this.
reawaken their creator to seal the black hole.
This
In
was
the course
actually
of their adventure searching for the
funny
keys,
enough. That was actually in the literal song at the start. It was made by some Australian band, but yeah, it quietly starts with, "Our worlds are in danger. We must gather the Cyber Planet Keys before the Decepticons gather them and use them for evil."
the friendships that Vector forged with the Autobots and their human allies.
And yes, there's
his
anime
own
humans in
solitary
here
life
too.
New and greater meaning.
They're so animated. So...
I finally understand the true value of time. For it is the bonds between us that give time its meaning.
Don't know the
Vector
power
Prime's
of the
history
dark side.
as one of the original 13 Transformers
Maybe.
wasn't explored in the cartoon. Instead,
Oh, yeah,
it was
there was
fleshed
one guy
out by
called
supplementary
Abomination,
material,
wasn't there?
including a comic published by the Transformers Collectors Club, and by Ask Vector Prime,
Oh.
a feature on the official Transformers website in which Vector answered questions sent in by fans.
Cool.
Towards the end of the cartoon, the Autobots were stranded in another dimension. To return them home so they could save the universe, Vector Prime chose to sacrifice himself, pushing his powers
Oh,
beyond
no.
their limits to reverse
Oh.
time and reopen the portal between dimensions.
Oh.
The strain of doing so claimed his life. But for
Damn.
Vector Prime, death wasn't really
Farewell.
the end. His
Makes
unique
sense.
life spent traveling in space and time meant that while he might die in one time, he would always exist in other times and dimensions,
Huh.
past and future,
Oh, that's
watching
gotta
over
be
his friends
torture.
from beyond.
That's kind of
time.
crazy.
And it was in this fashion that he intervened in Optimus Prime and Galvatron's final battle, reaching through the veil of time to give Optimus his sword.
Ooh.
One of the last figures released in the Cybertron toy line was a recolor of Vector Prime's toy, representing one of these temporal echoes of the ancient bot. Over the next few years, Vector Prime made several appearances in different series, which included
Kiss players,
battling
really?
his insane brother Logos Prime in Beast Wars Reborn, aiding the time-lost human Xiao Xiao Li in Kiss Players, and sharing his knowledge in the pages of the Transformers
I
animated
feel stupid saying
Allspark
this.
Almanac
I keep forgetting
guidebooks.
Transformers is Japanese.
Well, actually, it was originally called Dioclone in Japan, where the toys were originally made, and then brought over to the US, where they became Transformers. And then basically the Transformers brand took over, and they stopped being called, like, Go Robots or whatever it's called in Japan.
I see, I see.
Because Transformers is a lot more catchy.
A little bit.
Additionally, his toy was re-released with yet another new color scheme in the Transformers Universe line in 2009.
Needs to go
During
through a
these
car
years,
wash.
it was Hasbro's
Seems like
position
it.
that Vector and all the original 13 Primes were special beings known as multiversal singularities.
What?
This meant that across all the different infinite Transformers universes, there was only one Vector Prime, and that all the versions of him seen in these different stories were actually the same being,
Huh.
from dimension to dimension.
That is interesting.
However, at the time of Vector's introduction, the full details of the Prime story hadn't yet been developed. And over the
Okay.
next few years, as Hasbro continued to flesh out
That's
their
some pretty cool art
definitive
right there.
vision for the
Yeah,
group
it
as
is.
part of their new aligned continuity, they decided they didn't want to be constrained by the rules of past stories. As
Oh.
such, they chose to drop the singularity
Oh,
idea,
okay.
introducing a new, separate incarnation of Vector Prime, whose story was told in the 2011
powerful
novel
Decepticon of
Exiles
all.
and the 2013 guidebook,
Decepticon.
The Covenant of Primus.
I mean, if I remember correctly, it's supposed to be Megatronus Prime is the start of the Decepticons or something.
No.
It's
Decepticon all along.
there's a lot of retcons from what I've seen in, in this series. Speaking
Yeah.
hard with us with a dry throat, but yeah. Well, one day you should watch Transformers 1 if you really want a good see on how everything started, because it's a really good movie.
Aligned incarnation of Vector was the second of the 13 Primes to be created, a stoic and serious bot who believed Primus and his creations to be infallible. He wielded an artifact called the Blades of Time, which could open doorways into extra-dimensional realms, where Vector performed his work protecting the
I like his old
integrity
design
of
better.
time and space.
A little
After
bit,
the
yeah.
Primes
He kinda looks
defeated
like Odin
Unicron,
here.
their power-hungry
Yeah.
brother, Liege Maximo, manipulated
that guy
them
over
into
there.
fighting amongst themselves.
Who looks like
This
Loki.
crushed Vector's belief in his siblings'
Yeah, he does.
infallibility,
I wonder if
and
that's
he
what
exiled
intentional.
himself to a pocket dimension.
Well, from what Met told me, that he is the transformer of, like, or the prime of lies, so yeah, probably.
The blades of time behind him. The pieces of the blades came to be scattered
saying
across
blades
the
of time
universe,
makes me think
but
of
millions of
Kratos.
years later, they were found and reassembled by Optimus Prime, enabling the Autobot leader to open the doorway to Vector's dimension and consult the ancient bot for advice.
Oh, okay.
Vector also briefly returned to television in 2015's Robots in Disguise, when he and the other Primes gathered to lend their power to Optimus for an impending battle with their fallen brother, Megatronus.
Ah.
It was also in 2015 that the Collectors Club relaunched Ask Vector Prime as a Facebook page. The
Cool.
page was hosted by the Singularity version of Vector from earlier stories, whose many lives lived across the multiverse allowed him to answer all sorts of questions about Transformers continuity and lore from fans. He also shared details of his own history, like the various forms he'd taken in different worlds, including one based on the transforming
What is my
Watch
purpose?
Robo toy created
Oh.
by Takara in the 1980s, and
Okay.
an ill-fated romance with the Autobot
see.
Scorpia.
What?
However, following on from
Alright,
Hasbro's
then.
decision to drop the Singularity idea for the aligned continuity, towards the end of the year, the club chose to eliminate the concept entirely via a comic in which Nexus Prime used the power of the Star Saber to split all singularities into infinite different separate incarnations.
Alright,
one
then.
for every universe in the multiverse. As a consequence, the Facebook page changed to being hosted by one of these new versions of Vector, a
Alright.
retired professor of multiversal studies from a world of highly evolved Transformers.
Not a
The
bad
feature
idea.
concluded with Vector
What the
Prime's
hell's with
voice
that
actor
face?
from
What? Oh, what is
Cybertron,
that face?
Richard Newman, returning to narrate a farewell video in which Vector was sent on a research
Oh.
mission to the planet
don't like
Nebulos,
that.
a happy
Yeah.
ending that allowed the old
But
bot
at
to
least the original voice actor got to speak for him again. That's still kind of nice.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
renew his relationships with his universe's versions of Safeguard and Scorpia. With the abandonment of the singularity concept, new series have been free to reimagine the primes as they see fit. Some of the most notable reinventions have been in IDW Publishing's comic books, in which Vector and his siblings weren't divine beings, but simply tribal leaders on prehistoric Cybertron,
Weird.
and in 2018's Power of the Primes toy line, in which their sparks were contained within tiny robots known as Prime Masters.
Okay.
The Prime Masters could grant the powers of the Primes to other Transformers,
Don't
represented
really
by
like
the
that,
toys
but okay.
converting into spark mode
It's
and plugging
toy-orific.
into the larger figures in the series.
Yeah, they're just blocks
to shield
now.
their power from detection, the Prime Masters concealed themselves within suits of armor.
Oh,
The
pretenders.
Prime Master's suit was based on the Autobot Pretender, Metalhawk, and could transform
Pretenders are a weird thing where basically they try to make toys of, oh, they're hiding as humans and beasts now for some reason, even though they would still be gigantic by our size.
Right.
into a gun for larger
Hello,
toys to
fellow
wield.
humans. Do you
This
want
was
to
Vector
escape
Prime's
roads?
most recent
God.
appearance. And as to where he'll appear next, or if he'll ever get another toy, well, as is always the case with this ancient bot, finding out is only a matter of time.
Of course.
And those are the basics.
Have to end
on
with a
Vector
time pun,
Prime. If
whether
you
we
could
want to
time
or not.
travel to one great moment in Transformers history,
bells.
let me know in the comments which one you'd pick.
So, question,
Thank you,
Nazul.
Mr. McFeely.
How did you think of Vector Prime? Or what did you
It
think?
seems like a very, very cool character concept, but I am completely lost.
It's fine. We'll eventually get, or someone will get you there. Anyway,
Yeah,
basically, from what I know, there are 13 primes originally created by their god Primus in order to help fight Unicron, which is the giant floating eating planet thing.
Mhm.
I don't know much more than that because they don't know much more than that, or as far as I know. But either way, if you guys like what we're doing, please check out stuff over on the Patreon to help us with that if you want. It's all $1 over there. and we're always happy to see you. Or check out Azu's channel. I'd like you to help her. She's a good friend. And yeah. Also, like, comment, subscribe if you really want to help us. And yeah. Thank you all so much, and I'll see you all later. Bye-bye, and take care of yourselves. Any last words to the nice people, Azu?
Wie cool ist das, bitte?
I didn't understand that. But anyway, thank you all so much, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.